Hello my lovelies, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which I'm super pumped about. This is going to be the start of a few new product reviews from Sephora, which I am really stoked about. They've been cranking out the new releases, but today we're going to talk about the Viseart Paris Love Letter eyeshadow palette. I mean, is there any question that I would pick this up? Look at this packaging. It's got hearts all over it, and I am a sucker for packaging. It's been a hot minute since I have used a Viseart eyeshadow palette. So yeah, we're gonna talk about a few things and we're gonna put this on my eyes and you might be able to determine by the end of this video if this is right for you. So if you're interested in seeing how this worked for me, swatches on my skin tone, on a deeper skin tone, and just kind of playing with this palette, then just keep on watching. Alrighty, my friends, so I'm just going to throw up the description of this palette right up here, so not really going to dive into that the way I typically do for sake of time. I'm really needing to get out the door, but this is a $44 eyeshadow palette, and Viseart shadows are known to be very soft. I'm going to be upfront with you. Mine came in completely broken, but it is a $44 eyeshadow palette for 12 pans of eyeshadow, which is it's usually a few dollars less, I think, if I remember right, but these special Entendu palettes, they have been pricing them just a few dollars more. That's okay by me. I don't mind paying a few dollars extra for amazing packaging. So it is a, it's described as like a bouquet of florals and neutrals. It's supposed to be a very romantic type of eyeshadow palette for the springtime. Hence the Paris Love Letter title or name. So open this bad boy up, which you already know how a Viseart palette opens up, and this is what it looks like. Now I'm gonna have to be very careful because mine, like I said, came in very broken. This shade was literally powder over the whole thing. There was enough in there for me to kind of pack it back in. Practically needed a mallet to do it. These are very powdery, very soft, very fine, but literally powder everywhere. I had to take a baby wipe to the entire thing. It looked ugly. Anyways, so I called Sephora, and they are in the process of shipping me another one. I will tell you this shade, we will use it today. I like it very much. It is, though, practically, it's almost unusable in the shape that it's in. Packing it in almost did nothing because they are so powdery. So that being said, that's just a real quick description of the eyeshadow palette, and you guys know I want to go into swatches. I will tell you, the main reason, aside from the packaging, that I was completely sucked into this palette was this green right here. I am a sucker for standout pops of color, and so I was like, okay, I think this is going to be the Viseart palette that draws me back in since it's been so long since I've used the brand. So let's go ahead and start off with swatches the way we typically do so that you can see what they look like on my skin tone as well as a deeper skin tone, which if you are new to my channel, the photos with the deeper skin tone is graciously my husband has offered to loan his arm for swatching purposes. So I'm grateful for that. And that way, those of you with a deeper skin tone than mine will know, you know, how it works or how it might work for you, just because I am very I'm not very knowledgeable in what works for the different skin tones, aside from mine. I mean, aside from the obvious, you know? So anyways, that being said, let's grab some swatches and let's run with it now. Okay, friends, here we go. Letterbox, Beloved, Charmed, and Chocolatier. So perfect. It really makes me want to go to Paris, which I feel like overseas traveling is a thing of the past these days. But here is the first row, and I will be right back with the second row with the shade that is the most stand out to me. We've got Sonnet, Cupid, Blooming, and Lovelorn. I was like, what does that say? There's something on the letter. It's Lovelorn. Now, something interesting, so powdery. Something interesting I do have to say is that this is described on the Sephora website, and I'm sure on the Viseart website, as a palette in which you can use these shades for, what was it? Eye definition or something like that, and then brows and face contouring. So apparently, I did not know that. I mean, you can probably do, you can do that with any powder you want. It doesn't have to say it in the description, but I'm guessing they market these as, you know, for different things. So super multitask here. Let me grab the third row. I'll be right back. And And for the last row, we've got Arrow, Poem, Amour, and Ballad. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go this way. I mess this up every single time. If you've been with my channel for a long time, you know I never figure out which way to put it on my arm. How did I still mess that up? Anyways, so obviously based on swatches, it is very soft and romantic. It's not like a super pow. It's not meant to be a neon palette, anything like that. So that is what this bad boy looks like. And now we're gonna go ahead and put this thing on my eyes so that we can see how it works, how it performs in more of a live type of, you know, real-time kind of thing. And then we'll be back for final thoughts. So we're going to start off with the shade Sonnet and almost like a larger blending brush. And this is a very middle toned neutral. It's not too light where it's not going to show up, and it's definitely not deep enough to be like a definition shade. So I really enjoy how this one just kind of really defines my eye. I don't know how else to put that, but just putting a couple of layers into the crease. Now the mattes, you do kind of need to build up a couple of times, but I have found that to usually be the case with Viseart matte eyeshadows. And then for reference, and you probably already know this, the mattes have quite a bit of kickback, kick up, whatever it's called. So let's go ahead and go into the most broken shade, or the only broken shade. It's called Arrow, and I really have to tap in lightly because as it is, with these being packed into their pans, there's a ton of kickback, but this one's already broken, so even more so. I'm just placing this a little bit lower than that Sonnet shade, and I'm using a smaller blending brush. I'm trying to be a little bit more detailed and precise so that it's not being like I'm not being sloppy with it. I'm not placing it all over the place, but almost adding to the definition that that first shade kind of carved out. So let's go in with the deepest shade of the palette. This one's called Chocolatier, and placing this also on a blending brush, just gonna place this on the outer portion of my lid. Now what I do want to say is that this one looks a little more intimidating in the pan than what it goes on your lid. I ended up building this 2 or 3 times, and it wasn't to the intensity of what you see in the pan. So definitely using a couple of layers of this shade, just because again, with this being the quote-unquote deepest shade of the palette, I really want it to not smoke out the look, but provide the definition that I'm looking for. So everybody's different. I wanted it to be a little bit deeper, so I went in with about 3 layers of product. I hope you can see that kickback there. Yikes, that was a lot. It's not a deal breaker for me though, and I've told y'all that before. So now we're going to go ahead and go in with my Fenty Pro Filter Eye Primer. This is what I always use for a tacky base when I'm going to go in with like a metallic or sparkly shade, and this is no exception. This product will fully bring out your eyeshadow to its full potential. So with my finger, I'm going to grab the shade Amour, and this is such a lovely lilac shade. I don't think I have anything like it in my collection. It's almost like a gray type of lilac. That's how it pulls to me anyways. Maybe somebody else would see it different, but it's beautiful. It's sparkly. It's sparkly without being glittery. And it's just absolutely elegant. Very soft, but it does pack a punch in a soft way. I don't even know if that makes sense. But grabbing a little bit on a smaller shader brush, I'm just placing it in the areas where my finger won't reach or where it would get messy if I even tried. So just laying a little bit more down in those areas and just adding to what is already on the lid. And again, super pigmented. This was definitely a surprise for me. Going in with that same blending brush as before, and just blending Chocolatier and Amour just so that it doesn't look harsh. I didn't add any extra product. It's just what already was on the brush. So I'm going to go back in with my finger and I'm going to use the shade Poem. And this is just going to go on the middle portion of my lid just to add a little bit more dimension, just to brighten things up just a little bit, and in all honesty, to use a few more shades out of this palette. So, with my same Fenty eye primer, I'm just going to place this on the inner corner of my lid directly with the wand, and we're going to go in with that beautiful green shade. It's called Blooming, and I'm taking a tiny little Jaclyn Hill Morphe detail brush, and I'm going to use this to place the product on my eye, and let me tell you, I did not expect that pigmentation to be so amazing when I first used this palette, especially because my expectations were so low. So I placed this on my inner corner and I was just absolutely floored, you know, with how amazing and intense it looked. Again, because I was expecting it to not be pigmented in the least. But I know that that tacky eye primer has a lot to do with it. Alrighty guys, so using a liner brush, I'm going to go back in with the shade Chocolatier, and we're going to place this all over the lower lash line. I'm not really being super precise, I'm also not being really sloppy, it's just going to kind of be a middle of the road kind of thing, just to add a little something something to the lower lash line. So I'm just going to add some liner and lashes, and this is the final look. So easy, you guys, yet so soft, so romantic, packs a punch, absolutely elegant and beautiful. Alrighty, loves, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was easy to follow. I don't do a whole lot of complex, and so for me, easy is best. And so, yeah, that being said, let's move into my final thoughts, because I do have quite a few of them. First off, Viseart shadows, especially the mattes, by nature are very soft and powdery. So the chances of you getting a broken palette are a lot higher than a more stiffly packed palette. So, you know, if it's gonna come in broken, it always happens to me. So anyways, fingers crossed that the next one will come in intact, and my local stores don't have it. I think it's an online only thing right now for Sephora. Anywho, just keep mindful of that. Second, this again is not for the person who's looking for a very pack a punch type of palette. I also have to say it's been a hot minute since I have used a Viseart palette, since I have purchased a Viseart palette. So I really don't have at this point in time a lot to compare to. It is as I remember them to perform, but as far as being able to say exactly, okay, it is more or less pigmented than this palette, I can't do that for you. I'm working this as a standalone kind of thing right now. So that being said, again, this is going to be your softer springtime romantic type of palette, you know, look palette type thing. Anyways, so I'm going to go into the, not metallics, I don't think they're called metallics, but the standout shades, what I would consider standout shades. I really did have low expectations because quite frankly, I kind of cheated a little bit, and I couldn't help it. I started watching people's reviews, which I typically don't do because I don't want it to affect my thinking one way or the other of a palette. I want to just have my own thought about it and not know what other people thought. But I was seeing that a lot of people were saying it's not very pigmented. It's a lot less pigmented than a lot of their other stuff. And so, and especially this green, and that really disappointed me because I thought, man, that's like the whole reason I wanted this palette. But as with anything, you have to keep an open mind. You have to wait till you try it yourself, because somebody else's opinion, their taste, their thought, their skin type, their skin tone, everything is just so different from person to person. So that being said, in a way, I'm kind of glad I had low expectations, because I'm going to tell you, this was a lot more pack-a-punch pigmented than I thought it was going to be. I did not think it was going to be that bright on my eye. I really thought it was going to be more muted. I thought it was going to take 4 or 5 layers. There are some lime greens that take so many layers to build up. This one layer, and I'm good. So the green was absolutely a hit for me. I was like, yes, I am so excited that it wasn't what I assumed it was going to be. I also have to say the kind of, the one I didn't expect to love as much as I do is this violet one down here, lilac, I should say. It's almost like a gray lilac. I don't know how to describe it, but it is such a beautiful shade. I don't think I have a purple lilac type of shade like this in my collection. And again, it really did, in my opinion, pack a punch. Keep in mind, I use the Fenty Pro Filter Eye Primer when using those types of shades, not only for Viseart, for any type of brand. I always lay down the Fenty Pro Filter Eye Primer first because it's tacky, and I have found that it is the only product that brings out a metallic, this type of standout shade to its fullest potential with any brand. And I am literally, where is it? I think I already put it away. I'm on my 3rd tube of that at this point. I love this stuff so much. So I'm not saying you have to run out and buy it to make these perform well. I'm just saying with any brand, I always use that product and it fully brings out an eyeshadow to its fullest potential. Anyways, so the green and the lilac absolutely just sealed the deal for me with this eyeshadow palette. Love. The other metallics are also so beautiful. You can already tell where I'm going with this. Let's talk about the mattes. I keep calling them metallics. You know what I'm talking about. Love, perfect. Yes, they're soft, but they pack a punch if those can go together. The mattes, yes, they are so powdery, and there is so much kick up, kick back. I've heard so many terms for that. Whatever. So much when I dig I don't even dig, I'm not aggressive. When I dip my brush into the pan of product, the mattes, there is so much powder that comes up that I'm like, how did this thing survive only the shipment with only one breaking, quite frankly, was my question. They are very, very soft. So if you hate that, then hey, well, this palette isn't for you. But if you are a Viseart connoisseur, then you do already know that is no new information for you. So that being said, though, very much like the mattes. I think they're pretty. Yes, they are on the lighter side for a lighter wash of color. There are a couple where I have to build up a little bit more, but so beautiful, like very soft and romantic. I'm not mad at it. I mean, anyways, so I think the one that I find the lightest and the hardest to build up is this first one right here, but probably most people would use that to kind of set their all over eye before going in with the rest of the eyeshadows, or maybe like a brow bone highlight, inner corner highlight, that kind of thing. Aside from that, like the rest don't take a whole lot to build up. They just, you already know my sentiments on this palette based on everything I've told you so far. Love what's inside this palette and love the packaging. So good. But take that with a grain of salt because we are all different. I came into this with very low expectations. By the way, I'm having to store it like this for now because of that broken shade. Take it with a grain of salt because what works for me and what I love may not be what your cup of tea is. I, again, came in with a very low expectation because of everything I had seen and heard. And for me to get this type of payoff, I was like, I feel like I need to add a couple more to my Sephora cart for the upcoming sale, which if you didn't already know, the VIB sale has been announced. So I'll be doing a video on that here soon because my loves list has been clamoring for the sale. So anyways, I absolutely think it is it's well worth the spend at the $44. If you want to wait till the sale and get it at, $8-9 off, then even better. But for me, this was a total win. So glad I picked it up. Truly, I'm very happy with it. And the fact that I want to go get another Viseart palette at this point says a lot. Alrighty, my friends, before I let you go, which I am about to head out to church at this moment, I do want to give you a very quick verse of the day. Not to shove anything down your throat, not to force anything on you. If you want to click off here and now, you are certainly more than welcome, but I do it in a place of love and encouragement, in a place of sharing good news with you, to tell you that Jesus loves you so much. And today's comes from Psalm 105, and it says, "For the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations." It's a beautiful thing. If you don't already know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, again, not forcing him on you, I just want to share that there is a peace and love that only he can give, and the human race will let you down. You have seen that this year, last year, you have seen that over time, like in your own life, I am certain people have let you down. I know they have me, and yeah, it can be disappointing, but there is one who will never betray your trust and will never let you down. And his name is Jesus. So it is my prayer that he makes himself so evident to you that you would feel that peace and love in your heart and that you would have absolutely no doubt in your mind that it comes from him. Alrighty, friends. Well, thanks again for stopping by, spending some time with me today, talking a new eyeshadow palette. These are one of my favorite videos to film. So until the next one, my friends, please stay safe and stay well. Remember that Jesus loves you so very much. Okay, see you soon. Bye, guys.